I'd like to thank you, Vera, for inviting me to be a panelist, and the Chamber for having this excellent panel with my co-presenters. And I'm very excited today to be able to talk to you about something that's a passion of mine, reaching the C-suite, moving up and pulling up. So let's take a few minutes to discuss the C-suite. Some may say, what is the C-suite? Well, that's the highest level of leadership within a company or organization. C stands for Chief. CEO, Chief Executive Officer, Chief Financial Officer, Chief Human Resources Officer, Chief Operating Officer, Chief Administrative Officer, you get the point. So the C, the executive leadership team, and they are responsible for ensuring the company sets strategic growth initiatives for growth, basically, and profitability. First, and most importantly, I think you should aim high. Sometimes you can't just reach for the treetops, you gotta reach for the stars. I think it's really important to have high goals. And I have no doubt that you are competent. And how do I know this? Because like many of you, in addition to the competent coworkers and bosses, we've also seen mediocre coworkers and promoted and actually incompetent C-suite executives. So knowing that, knowing your skill sets, I know that you can do better, and I know that you can reach one of these C-suite spots. So just to make sure that we have a roadmap, I would like to share 10 top tips, in my opinion, of getting to the C-suite. First, subject matter expert. You need to become a SME, highly skilled and highly competent in an area. So for me, it's labor and employment law. That's one, right? But you should become multi-skilled in more than one subcomponent of your field. So I know recruiting, I know compensation and benefits, I know org design, when you talk about HR, okay? Another important thing is soft skills. You have to have good soft skills. And this segues into the excellent point that Maureen raised. I know that people think they can get ahead by being focused, staying at their desk, and just doing their job. Unfortunately, that's really not the truth. Yes, you do have to be a subject matter expert, and you have to be excellent at what you do. But people also want to get to know you, know who you are. So when promotions and opportunities come up, people like to kind of be able to say something about somebody, and you want them to be able to say something positive about you. Another one is gravitas. I think that Maureen mentioned it too, as executive presence. That is really important. I had a coworker when I used to work at Aetna, and he was in recruiting, and his coworkers and everybody used to tease him about why did he always wear a suit to work. And I cracked up and said to Carlos, I get it. You're trying to dress for where you're trying to go. And that's the image that he wanted to present. And he wore a suit where everybody else may have just wore khakis and a shirt. He wore a suit, and that young man ended up being at Travelers, an executive role position years later. So gravitas, executive presence, you need to look polished and present yourself as confident. All right, so tip number 4, informal networks. They are key to finding jobs, mentors, and sponsors. And it's really important to note the difference between a mentor and a sponsor. Number 5, industries. Please don't be afraid to change industries. I was in the healthcare industry for years with Children's National Medical Center in DC as a lawyer. Then I came to Aetna, health insurance company, and worked there as a lawyer and HR professional. But since then, I went to manufacturing, and I've been in the defense industry, and now I'm in higher education because I really believe, and this is what I tell my HR team, look for transferable skills. I actually don't need you to be a pharmaceutical expert, because if I think you're smart, you're going to learn the pharmaceutical industry. What I need you to be is a HR competent professional. I need you to be a leader. I need you to have some of those other kind of skills. And then learning the industry, if you're smart, you'll learn how higher ed works or how the health insurance works. Okay. Number 6, talking to recruiters. You'll get those phone calls and make those relationships. I always take from the call from recruiters, because basically I want to see what they're offering, see what they're talking about. And I have a vast network, and I want to make sure that I refer opportunities to my network. I think that is so very important.